Hi guys, welcome to another video. Hope you're all keeping well. Now with this video, I'm going to review a movie that I watched over the weekend. Now the movie in question is from 2024. It was written for the screen and directed by Robert Eggers, and it stars Bill Skarsgård in a titular role, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Emma Corrin and William Dafoe. And that movie is Nosferatu. Okay then guys, before I say anything further about this remake of the 1922 classic Nosferatu Symphony of Horror, I'll read, as per usual, I'll read you the blurb at the back of this edition. It's not all that much really on it, and I'll go on to express my thoughts on the movie as a whole, and at the end of it give a rating as we always do. Okay then guys, so here we go. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and a terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Starring, and I've already read you the cast, guys. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically the story, guys. In a nutshell, it's more of a kind of a gothic love story than rather than an house horror. Yes. Okay then, guys. I'm going to give my thoughts on it as a whole. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty average remake. I didn't loathe it, but on the other hand, I didn't like it. So it was sort of like in between. I didn't really think the main character, the main creature, Nosferatu, was all that scary. It just looked like basically just like an old man, like with an overgrown moustache and a scruffy coat and that. Yeah. So yeah, he wasn't nowhere near as good as Christopher Lee, Max Schreck, people like that who portrayed Dracula over the years. But I must say, Robert Eggers, he did a good job at all here, getting everything spot on, right down to the minutest detail of all historical items that were listed throughout the movie. And there were a couple of things about it that I did like. I did like the when the main character was going to Dracula's castle to sort of do the business deal, sorting out the property and that. I loved the approach to Dracula's castle and that, very, very atmospheric, very eerie. But then when he got to Dracula's castle, when he first meets the Count Orlok, you don't really see him full on the vampire. Just see him in shadow. You don't really see him in his full horrific, full visibility until about halfway through the movie, and that's sort of the climax and that. But yeah, guys, I don't know whether I'll be watching it again. There's a couple of stills there, guys, from the movie, yeah. But I must say, there's William Dafoe there. As he's taking the kind of a Van Helsing type character on. I tell you what, I didn't like in this, guys. I didn't like. I don't think he should have done it. It was more like a possession movie because the girl, was sort of had this sort of ongoing eerie love story with Dracula. She was acting like she was possessed all the time. She was shaking. Her eyes were rolling up in her sockets and that. And I thought to myself, this is more of a bloody possession movie than a straight vampire story. So I think they should have left that out. There was a lot of talk in it. It was pretty slow in parts for me, and they could have put a bit more horror in. And as I say, the vampire didn't do anything for me. I'm sure, if memory serves me correctly, I'm sure I bumped into a character a couple of years ago when I was coming out of a train station. He come up to me and said, "Can you spare some change?" Spare some change, because he reminded me the kind of character what you might see, sleeping rough on the streets and that, the kind of aggressive kind, not the normal people the well-behaved ones, but a kind of an aggressive beggar. That's what he reminded me of, Count Orlok, But yeah, I like my Dracula traditional, like the one Nosferatu, 1922, Max Schreck, who's quite terrifying, and of course Christopher Lee. But this vampire, he didn't really do anything for me, Of course, I'm not going to tell you the ending, but the ending was a bit of a damp squib for me, guys, to be honest with you. I did not care for the ending at all. But yeah, I had a couple, as I say, the scenery, but another problem I had, guys, it had that dirty dishwater colour, what I so hate in horror movies, It lacked the colour of the Hammer films, It was that dirty. There were some scenes, as I said before, that were quite atmospheric, The approach to the Count's castle, and they seen all the rats on the ship and that, sort of when he came to sort of the mainland, he brought a pestilence with him, the vampire, which sort of generated thousands of rats, They were sort of quite horrific, all the rats and that. But that dirty dishwater colour, guys, it spoils it for me. I don't know why they do sort of like these horror movies. I don't like why they don't improve the colour spectrum more and put more colour in like Hammer did. Hammer did it brilliantly. Well, of course, if you're a Hammer fan, how consummate they were. That was part of that appeal, Hammer, the brilliant colour, but this, guys, it was very, very drown. I'm surprised, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that I managed to stay awake till the ending, to be honest, and that, it didn't do anything for me at all, just basically the same artwork, guys, underneath, but yeah, guys, I watched the extras and that, and it was very, very well done. They did a good job. I must give them credits. I must give Robert Eggers credits. He did a good job, like getting everything to, really accurate and that. He'd done his research and that, and actual sort of like artifacts and that, actually represented that time. Oh, another thing I didn't like though, guys, I didn't like the spoken like all the characters spoken like a kind of like stilted, like sort of like the diction of that time, if you will. At times I thought I was watching like a kind of like a like a Shakespearean drama. They sort of like spoke with this. Well, you know what I mean, don't you? Only speak in these old-fashioned movies. You think you're watching a Shakespeare movie. But yeah, guys, yeah, on the whole, I was quite disappointed with Nosferatu. And I don't think I'll be watching again. I think they could have cut it short as well, guys. I thought it was a bit too long, to be honest. I haven't even bothered watching the extended cut. I just don't fancy it. But yeah, very, very unscary vampire. Did nothing for me, and it's just like an owl. It's just like a bloody tramp off the streets. Like that's what he looked like in that. He's like dirty coat on him and this odd moustache and that. Oh, another thing as well that made me laugh. Every time he's spoken like this weird tone. Putting a lot of creepiness into his tone. Well, Bill Skarsgård, according to the extras, he really got his voice for the part and that, practice getting his voice deep in that and guttural. But I brought in the help of an opera singer to get his voice spot on. But in between when he was speaking, he was sort of like he seemed as he was suffering from some sort of bloody chest complaints because he was taking these deep breaths. I was speaking, going, "Yo, I can't do it accurately, guys. You will be my bride." I was taking these deep breaths all the time, guys. Trying to sort of like add the fear factor to sound. It didn't work, guys. I don't know. I was laughing it's taking these deep. It's like something bloody wrong with his chest and that. And he emphasised the sound as well. He amplified the sound by to judge what I heard to make the breaths like sinister. But it didn't work, guys. I thought to myself, this vampire's got a very bad chest complaints. That's my opinion anyway. But I do know a lot of people like this movie. And I don't mind that, that's fine. Everybody to their own taste. Like you always say, we're all different. We can't all like the same thing. But yeah, guys, this wasn't for me, I'm afraid. I didn't say it. I wasn't expecting all that much, really, to be honest with you. Because I've been disappointed so many times by these bloody horror remakes and that. I went it like, and I wasn't, at the same time, I wasn't overly disappointed. I was disappointed to a degree, but I wasn't really, if you know what I mean, really expecting a lot. So I did prepare myself. Yeah, but guys, there was a lot of things wrong with this movie. It's very slow. It wasn't horrifying. Too many possession scenes in it, and he didn't really kill all that many people, really. And it didn't really make it clear what bond if the girl had, the main female protagonist, what bond she had with Nosferatu. It was supposed to have happened years ago, and she had these weird nightmares and that. And as I say, getting possessed and that, they should have left that out, that possession scene, guys. It made it a bit corny, I thought. He should have just done a straight Dracula movie, like the type what Christopher Lee had been, and the vampire, he didn't do anything for me, guys. And he didn't really have the eerie look of Max Schreck either. He had a little bit of hair on his head and that, and he tried to make it out that he was he was partly human, partly decaying. But they did a good job with the makeup and that. I'll give them credit for that. But it didn't work in the movie, guys, if you know what I mean. He did put a lot of work into the makeup. But when what was translated into the movie, it fell flat on its face. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying if you haven't seen Nosferatu, don't see it. Go and see it, rent it out, see what you think. It's one of those Marmite movie, guys, Nosferatu. You either like it or you loathe it. I didn't loathe it, but by the same token, I didn't like it. I'm in between, so I thought it was very, very average in that. But that colour, that dirty, dirty dishwater colour, they should do something about that, but yeah, very, very slow in parts and that, And I didn't like they put the sex aspect as well. I won't go too much into that. Oh, Mrs.
Oh, you are awful, but I like you.
But yeah, you could have left that out. Yeah. All right then, guys. I've said enough about this now. This average movie. On to a rating now. You probably guess what I'm going to give it. I'll give it 5 out of 10, guys. That's all it's worth as far as I'm concerned. But as I say, I do know a lot of people like it, but then a lot of people hate it. But I'm in between, you know, I'm sort of like average, yeah. Okay then, guys, I'm going to conclude this video now. Have you seen Nosferatu? I know a lot of you YouTubers already have. What did you think of it? Do you share my opinion? It's a very, very average movie. Let me know in the comments down below. Let's get a good discussion going about Nosferatu. Yeah, but yeah, guys, the Max Shrek one was better, even though it was silence, you know. I don't think you should, you know, I've said it again and again. I know a lot of YouTubers agree with me. They should leave the classic horror movies alone. Think of some bloody original plots. Oh, jeez. You know, I'm sick of seeing these classic movies getting you know, turning out substandard versions of them. I know they do you know, they do try and do their best, and I do pat Robert Eggers on the back for saying in the extras that he wanted to make vampires scary again. He very nearly succeeded, but he didn't quite reach the mark, if you know what I mean. He could have made it a bit more horrifying, you know. He could have shown Nosferatu a bit more. And at the end of the day, guys, you know, just an average movie for me. Okay then, guys, that's my review of Nosferatu. Yeah, okay then, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Oh, just remind you, I'm going to be live this coming Thursday at 8:30, a special Easter horror live stream. So look forward to seeing you all then. Okay then, guys, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed watching this video, guys, you might like to check out my website at www.alantoner.com. You'll be able to find out a little bit more about my work as a writer and all the books I have published to date. Thanks for watching.